Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of I Only Ask Because. I'm your host Tony, and then we have Dr. E. I want to thank you for joining me once again. So let's get right into the topics of the day. So we've said this before in a previous episode, but Trump's saying that the 25% tariffs on basically the rest of North America, Canada, Mexico, are going to take effect next week. And he's talking about an additional 10% tax on the Chinese imports that is coming. And again, we did touch on this last week, but I'm just wondering, what do you think is going to happen in terms of, I don't want to say necessarily the market, but just how we spend our money, how things will get more expensive, or maybe they'll decrease in price with these incoming tariffs?
Okay, first of all, I want to circle back because I think we forgot my question for today is was Maya Angelou correct when she stated people are afraid to be pried loose from their ignorance? I only asked because.
Okay.
But to get back to your question, what do I think is going to happen in terms of economics? Because I feel like this is all related.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you look at the last 100 days, what we're seeing is a downward spiral in terms of what's going on with our society. And I know a lot of times you have to go 3 steps backwards to get 4 steps forward. And so I'm not questioning the process at all. What I'm seeing though is almost like a repeat of things we've already tried in the past that have not worked for us.
Yeah.
And so that makes me kind of wonder, you know, are we intentionally tanking our country? What's the motivation behind it? Because everything you just mentioned in terms of tariffs and increased tariffs has been shown economically to be bad business, right? So we can't point to any time in history where increasing tariffs for, against allies has actually helped us profit as a country. So I don't understand why anyone thinks this time will be different.
Okay. Well, I mean, you make a good point. Um, I do feel like the whole thing with China is also going to kind of bite us in the butt because even though they're not necessarily an ally, they're still somebody that we depend heavily on for resources, specifically electronics. Basically, everything that we use says made in China. So, I mean, it is kind of crazy, and that is going to come back on us one way or another. And then Mexico and Canada, I just feel like you have two countries that have always had their own kind of demons, their own issues, and we've just always kind of been there to, like, acquaintances almost. They're not necessarily our best friends. Canada a little bit more than Mexico, but it's always just been one of those things where, we're neighbors, so we don't want to be that neighbor that's always beefing, or you do one thing to me and then I try and get back at you like in the movies or whatever. And I think that's really what you're starting to see, especially with Mexico since Trump's been in office, but even now with Canada, I think you're going to see that play out even more. But that's just my take on it. But going back to your question, because I did kind of get ahead of myself, I guess when you ask that, what can you kind of dive into that a little bit more, what you're asking?
Well, sure. I saw a post recently that used the word woke in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was saying that, Maya Angelou, may she rest in peace, was ahead of her time because when she was asking that question, what she was really saying is, why is there resistance to facts that you were previously unaware of? Why is there resistance to people and cultures that you're not familiar with? Why is there this automatic resistance? And her take on that in this particular interview was because people are more comfortable staying in their ignorance, so staying in what they don't know, than venturing out and having to be really brave because they know they're about to be in uncharted waters in terms of information that they have. It to me, that's not really even a cultural or an ethnic or anything like that. To me, that's just a human
Yeah.
response to the unknown. However, once you get past the whole, okay, I'm human, you're human, then we have the responsibility of being, I don't know, intelligent humans or empathetic humans or caring humans. And so human can be the baseline, but I don't think that we all should, ignore facts and information and just have knee jerk reactions.